Welcome back to the Taj Mahal. It's Monday, February the 26th, and we are going to work on mounting these L-shaped brackets back in here today. These brackets hold the back panel for the cockpit trim, and I think they provide a little bit of stiffening as well for that upper saddle piece where it's spot welded against the wheel tubs there on the side. So we're going to do a little grinding work. We'll do a little bit of primer work behind the brackets where we're not going to see the back of them anymore. We'll do a little grinding on the floor where we did some plug welds, where we drilled out the spot welds from before we go ahead and weld those in. So we'll get ready to do that. Alright guys, we've got those brackets all tech screwed and clamped in place, so we're just about to plug weld them solid. So I think they look good. So we'll go ahead and do that. And then we'll grind them down a little bit, as much as we can anyway. You won't be able to really see where they're welded, so we might not be able to even get a grinder in there, but we'll see what we can do. Well, definitely not the prettiest welding I've ever done, but they are in there solid and ground down, so they don't look too bad. So we'll look for our next project. I think that's going to be cleaning up the garage, actually. It's getting a little tight in here, and bench is a little messy. So I think it's time to take a break and do a big cleanup before we move on to the next thing. Alright guys, we've had a bit of a garage cleanup. Did a little sweeping, cleaned the bench, put some tools away, and flipped the car up on its side, which made sweeping a little bit easier. But anyway, we're going to now work on this sill end cap, and this one I know is not going to fit because the shape of this sill is dramatically different than probably what it should be. This has had a lot of work done on it. I think what we've done, or I've done, is I've overly compressed the bottom of this and pushed it up so it's got the shape out of whack a little bit. Plus this flange has probably dropped down a little bit. This obviously had a lot of work done on it, this car, in the past, and it's because of some of this work that some of this work's not sort of fitting up as it should down here. Anyway, what we're going to do is we're going to take the cap and we're going to modify it again somewhat to fit that opening. That cap should fit in like that, and again, it's too big. We've traced a line about how much we need to cut off the back of it. So we're going to cut that back off and we're going to reflange it and fit it in there and weld that in. So we're going to get doing that right now, and we'll get that job out of the way, then we'll move on to something more exciting. Alright guys, nothing too exciting, but we've made that new sill cap. We welded the new flange on the end after we cut it. We just zinc primed the back and we're getting ready to plug it in the hole. And we will just, last time I spot welded it. I think this time we're just going to face weld it around the edge and just grind it down. I ended up doing that on the other one as well, just to fill in some gaps. So I think we'll forego the plug welding and we'll just weld it around the seam. Alright, cross another job off the list. That's looking good. Ground down nicely. Probably use a little bit more grinding here. Maybe we'll get on my Dremel and do that, but no big deal. So let's move on to something else. And I think what I'm going to do, because I've got this really bad piece, the last bad piece on the car to deal with. So I think what I'm going to attempt to do is at least cut the bad piece out. And I'm going to try to cut it out, but leave the bottom lip, or part of the bottom lip, so I have something to weld back to. So this is plan A. I have a plan B in mind, but we won't talk about plan B until plan A doesn't work out the way I want it to. So anyway, I'm thinking about that, but I'll make some marks and we'll see if I'm brave enough to cut that huge patch out of there tonight or not. Alright, so here's the plan. You see this big blue outline? We're going to cut that all out. I want to try to keep a little bit from the bottom of this flange, although we may not be able to rescue it. I'd like to keep it for reference temporarily at least. So we're just going to cut above the flange all the way down and up and across. We'll get rid of all this stuff, and then I'll show you what it looks like inside. It is not pretty. So we'll see what we need to do when we get there. So I'm going to break out the cutting wheel. Hopefully one last time for a major piece. Still have some little stuff to do, but this should be the last major repair we have to do. Cross your fingers. All right, here we go. Surprise! Okay. Ugly. So there was just a little bit of rust in that. So let me get some light on this so you can see what's going on back in behind here. Obviously this patch was brazed in from way up here all the way over to here, and all they did was brazed a big patch over extremely rusty metal. You can see the old panel in behind here. There's the lip of the old panel, and yeah, you can hear how crunchy that is. So yeah, I gotta get that out of there. Anyway, whew, I'll take a better look in a minute. Alright, so here's what we're looking at behind the valence, where we just cut that section out, and you can see all of the rust still back in there. That's the original panel. You can sort of see the scab of, and then the new panel that they put in is pretty rusty on the back as well. I think I'm going to cut up a little higher so I can get rid of some more rust. I'm a little bit concerned about losing the shape, but I'd rather lose shape than have a bunch of rust back there. So I think we'll cut it up another couple inches and then we'll go from there. So this is the reason why that panel had so much rust pitting on the outside. It's because I could see this little bubble. I don't know if you can see that bubble there. So what had happened was this bubble formed in the original metal behind and created this pocket. So you can see there's kind of a pocket in there, and what's happened is all the moisture and dirt and mud's collected in that pocket, and it's rusted all of this out on the bottom. So that little pile of rust that you saw fall out on the bottom actually all came out of this pocket in behind here. So I knew that was going to be an issue when I was looking at it, but again, we're leaving the best to last. So on the plus side, or the positive side, it'll make it easier for me to clean the bottom of the trunk floor. That's the spare tire carrier down there. So we can always break the wire brush out and knock the rust off that. Anyway, I got a giant hole now to fill, but that looks better as far as removing a lot of that scaly rust that was in there. Still a bit more up there at the top, but I think we can probably get the sandblaster in there to blast that out. Anyway, so we got that big hole to fill, and now we got to think about how we're going to do that.